Good day, math enthusiasts. I am Mrs. Nora Giulo, your math facilitator for today. Today, I will be discussing the law of the exponent, specifically the zero and the negative exponents. After watching this video, you are expected to rewrite the expressions with negative exponents into positive integral exponents, simplify expressions with zero and negative integral exponents, and apply the laws of exponent in solving real-life situations. Let us review first the laws of exponent. Ito ang napag-aralan nyo noong kayo ay grade 7 at grade 8. Product rule. When multiplying powers having the same base, exponents are added for any number x and y and positive integers m and n. Product of powers, that is x raised to m times x raised to n, is equal to x raised to m plus n. So let's have an example. Number 1, 2 squared times 2 cubed. It is 2 raised to 2 plus 3. Copy the base, and then the exponent is 2 and 3. We have to add this. So we will have 2 plus 3 equals to 5. So 2, it is raised to fifth power. So this is not yet our final answer. 2 raised to the fifth power means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 and times 2, which is multiply 2 by itself 5 times. So this is equivalent to 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 16, times 2 is 32. So our answer is 32. Okay, number 2, we have x raised to the fourth power times x raised to the fifth power. We have the same base, x, and then copy the exponent. Then add 4 plus 5 is 9. So our answer is x raised to the 9th power. Number 3, we have a 2 monomial term. Multiply 3x to the third y squared times 2x y raised to the fifth power. So multiply first the numerical coefficient, which is 3 and times 2. And then get the same base as x. Yung unang monomial term natin, x, has an exponent of 3. And the second is 1. So plus 1. And then the y variable, yung first, we have the 2 exponent and add it to the second variable of y, which is 5 ang exponent natin. So combine, add the exponent. 3 times 2 is 6, and then x, 3 plus 1, we have 4. And then y, we have 2 plus 5 is 7. So number 3 answer is 6. X raised to the fourth power times y raised to the 7th power. Power of a power. In power of the power, you have the expressions having a power and it is raised to another power. So it is equal to x multiplied by the product of m times n. So example, 2. The base is 2 and then the exponent is 4 and 2. We will multiply 4 times 2. So 4 times 2. So you will have 2 raised to 8. And what is 2 raised to 8? Which means we will multiply 2 by itself by 8 times. So 2 raised to 8 is equal to 256. Number 2. The quantity x raised to the 6th power cube. So, we will multiply 6 times 3. This is equivalent to x raised to 18 power. Number 3, the quantity 2k cube raised to the 5th power, we have 2 and then 5. So we will distribute the exponent 5 by 2. So because 2 has an exponent of 1, 1 times 5 is 5. And then k, we have 3 times 5. So 2 raised to the 5th power is 32. This is equivalent to 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 times 2 is 32. So we will have 32, okay, and then 3 times 5 is 15. That is the power of the power. We will multiply the exponent with another exponent. The power of a product. This time, we will have a product and it is raised to the m power. This is equal to m raised to m, y raised to m. Let's have an example. We have 2x raised to the 4th power. So, we will distribute 2 raised to the 4 and x raised to the 4. So, 2 raised to the 4 means 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16. And then, copy the x raised to the 4. How about example number 2? X, y, z. It is simple as distribute the exponent to x, y, z as x raised to the 3rd, y raised to the 3rd, and z raised to the 3rd. So that is the power of a product. We have a product of x, y, z, and then distribute the exponent to each expression. Number 3, the quantity 2c squared d raised to the 5th power. Okay, so first distribute one by one the exponent 5 to each member of the expression. So we have 2 raised to the 5th, and then c has the exponent of 2 and then multiply it by 5. And then d raised to the 5. So simplify further. So you will have 2 raised to the 5 means 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 times 2, 32. So we will have 32. And then c is 2 times 5 is 10. And then d raised to the 5th power. Okay, so that is how we will do for the power of a product. We will distribute the exponent of the power to each member of the coefficient. Quotient rule. When dividing powers having the same base, exponents are subtracted for all integers m and n where x is not equal to 0. So, we will have the formula x raised to the m power divided by x to the n power is equal to copy the base and then subtract the exponent as m minus n if m is greater than n. Applying this formula, so you will have y to the 5th power divided by y to the 3rd power, copy the base, and then subtract the exponent. So you will have y raised to the 2nd power or y squared. Next, number 2. You have 2 to the 8th power divided by 2 cube is equal to 2 raised to 8 minus 3. And 2 and 8 minus 3 is 5. And then 2 raised to 5 is 32. 32 is from 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 times 2 is 32. How about number 3? We have the same base as 3 and then subtract the exponent 5 minus 3 and x 8 minus 1. So 5 minus 3 is 3 squared, and then x is 8 minus 1 is 7. So you will have 3 squared is 9 and x raised to the 7th power. Next, we will have the quotient of a power. So we will have x divided by y raised to the power m. So distribute the power of m to the expression. So you will have x raised to the m divided by y raised to the m. So for example, x divided by y raised to the 6th power. So you will have x raised to the 6 divided by y raised to the 6. So, i-distribute lang natin yung power sa bawat expressions. Next, the quotient of 2a divided by 5b raised to the quantity square. So, let us distribute the exponent 2 to the numerator. So, you have 2 squared and then a squared divided by 5 squared times b squared. Then, let us simplify 2 squared is 4, and then a squared. Divide by 5 squared is 25, and then b squared. This is for number 5. Simplify y to the 5th power divided by y cubed. Applying the quotient rule, copy the base and then subtract the exponent 5 minus 3. So, you will have y raised to the 2nd power or y squared. Next, simplify y cubed divided by y to the 5th power. If you observe, the exponent of the numerator is less than the exponent of the denominator. So, ano kaya mangyayari sa sagot natin? So, let us apply the law of exponent, the quotient rule as copy the y and then subtract the exponent, 3 minus 5. So, you will have y raised to the negative 2. So, this time, nagkaroon tayo ng negative exponents. A negative exponent is m raised to the negative x is equal to 1 over m raised to x. So, ang gagawin lang natin dito is to eliminate the negative exponent by using its reciprocal. So, ibig sabihin, yung denominator, yung numerator natin, ililipat natin sa denominator and then i-remove natin yung kanyang negative exponent where m is equal to 0 and x is a counting number. So, let us apply this concept to the following example. Number 1, 3 raised to the negative 5. So, again, sabi ko nga, ikukunin natin yung reciprocal by 3 raised to 5. So, dadalhin natin yung 3 raised to the negative 5 sa denominator. Tapos, aalisin natin yung negative sign. So, your answer is 1 over 3 raised to 5. But this is not yet our final answer. So, we can simplify it more by 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And what is the answer? The answer is 1 over 243. This is equivalent to 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27 times 3, 81, and then times 3 is 243. How about number 2? Again, gagawitin natin yung kanyang reciprocal by getting the 2a raised to the cube sa ilalim. Magiging, isusulat natin siya sa denominator. Okay? So, after this, apply the power of the product. So, didistribute natin yung exponent 3 sa bawat expression. So, 2 raised to 3, then a raised to 3. And then, 2 raised to 3 or the 2 cube is equivalent to 8 and then a raised to 3. So, 8 is from 2 times 2, 4 times 2 is 8, and then a cube. And example number 3, as you can see, you have the multiplication. So, the product of 2, copy, and then add their exponent. So, negative 2, and then plus, yung pangalawang 2 has a negative exponent, and then, yung 3 naman, copy the base, 3, and then the exponent is 8, plus, and then negative 5. Do not forget to include the negative sign of the exponent kasi kasama lagi yan. Yan ang sign nila. So, ang exponent natin is any integer. Pwede siyang positive, pwede siyang negative. So, simplifying, 2, you have negative 3, and positive times negative is negative 3. And then, 8 minus 5. So, your answer is 2 raised to negative 6 and 3 raised to positive 3. Again, meron tayong negative exponent, so ilalagay natin yan sa denominator. So, this will become 2 raised to 6, and then 3 raised to 3. And 3 raised to 3 is 27, and 2 raised to 6 is 64. And this is our final answer. How about number 4? 7 to the negative 6 power, and then multiply by 7 to the 5th power. So, we have the same base. Kakopy muna natin. And then, add the exponent. Negative 6 plus 5. So, negative 6 plus 5, following the addition of integers. So, you will have 7 raised to negative 1. And raised to the negative 1 is 1 over 7. Kailangan, ang final answer natin is a positive exponent. Number 5. In number 5, this is a combination of the product rule and a quotient rule. So, unahin muna natin yung product rule. So, 2, add the exponent, 5 plus negative 2 divided by 2 raised to 6. And then, 5 plus negative 2 is 5 minus 2. So, you will have 2 cubed divided by 2 raised to 6. And this time, you will have now the quotient rule. In quotient rule, copy the base and then subtract the exponent. So, in subtracting the exponent, you will have 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Again, you will have now a negative exponent. In getting the negative exponent, para maging positive, kunin natin yung kanyang reciprocal by putting the value to the denominator as 2 raised to 3. And 2 raised to 3 is 8. So, the final answer is 1 over 8. Simplify y to the 5th power divided by y to the 5th power. So, applying the quotient rule, we will have y, and then subtract the exponent. 5 minus 5 is equal to y raised to 0. Okay, what is y raised to 0? Recall that if we 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. if we have 10 divided by 10, this is also equivalent to 1. If we will have 100 divided by 100, this is equivalent to 1. So, applying the rule, 5 divided by 5, so you have the same base as 5, then subtract 1 minus 1, it is 5 raised to 0. And 5 raised to 0 or 5 divided by 5 is equivalent to 1. Therefore, y raised to 0 is equivalent to 1. That is called the zero exponent. For any number, non-zero number, x raised to 0 is equal to 1. So, let's have an example. Z to the 7th power divided by z to the 7th power. Applying the quotient rule, we will have 7 minus 7. So, we will have z as 0. And then z is equal to 1. How about number 2? 5, same base, and then subtract the exponent. So, you will have 5 raised to 0. And any number raised to 0 is equivalent to 1. How about for 6 times a raised to 0? 6 and a raised to 0 is 1. So, our answer is 6. But if we have 6a raised to 0, our answer should be 1 because 6 is included in the parentheses as raised to the 0. Number 4, 0 raised to 9, huwag na tayong mag-isip ng kung ano pa ang pwede natin gamitin because 0 times 0 is 0. So, therefore, 0 raised to 9 is 0. How about number 5? 6ab squared raised to the quantity 0 is equal to 1. Exponential expressions are said to be in simplest form if the exponents are positive, there are no powers of power, each base appears only once, and all fractions are in the simplest form. Let us apply this condition in simplifying with positive integral exponents. Okay, number 1. 6 raised to the negative 3 is equal to 1 over 6 raised to the 3. I-remove natin yung negative exponent by getting its reciprocal. So, 1 over 6 raised to the 3 is equivalent to 216. That is 6 times 6 is 36 times 6 is 216. Okay, number 2. We have negative 4 raised to 0. So, negative 4 raised to 0 is 1. So, our answer is negative 1. So, we have very careful in applying the value of 0 exponent. Okay, next. We have number 3. We have negative quantity, negative 8 raised to the second power. So, you will have negative 8 times negative 8 yan. So, you will have positive 64. It is different if we have negative 8 squared. So, this is equivalent to negative 8 times 8. So, which is equivalent to negative 64. Okay? So, kasi dito, sa una, may parenthesis ka, which is included yung negative, which means negative times the negative is positive. Kaya ang answer natin dito is positive. Whereas, yung negative 8 raised to the second power na sinasabi ko, you have negative yung una at ang meron lang dodoblehin is yung 8, which is 8 times 8. So, you will have negative 8 times positive 8, you have negative 64. Magkaiba yan. Okay, next. Number 4. You have negative 3 raised to the 4th power. Again, meron tayong negative exponent. So, get the reciprocal. You have 1 over negative 3 raised to the 4th power. So, 3 raised to the 4th power is negative 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So, this is equivalent to 1 over 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27 times 3 is 81. But you have a negative sign here, so copy the negative sign, or this is the same as negative 1 over 81. Parehas lang yan, dalawang yan. Okay, number 5. 6 raised to the 5th power divided by 6 raised to the 3rd power. So, copy the base. You have 5. And then, using the quotient rule, subtract the exponent. 5 minus 3. So, you will have 6 squared. And 6 squared is 6 times 6 is 36. Number 6. 8 x squared divided by 4x raised to the 5th power. So, we will apply the quotient rule. So, 8 divided by 4 is 2, and then x, 2 minus 5. Subtract the exponent by applying the quotient rule. So, 2x raised to negative 3. So, we will have 2 divided by x raised to the 3rd power as our final answer by removing the negative exponent. Number 7. We have a 2 monomial term. Let us simplify first the first monomial by applying the power of the product. So, 2 square times c squared, and then d, we will have 4 times 2 because we will multiply power by the power. And then c raised to the 5th power, and then d raised to the 5th power. This is power product of a power rule. So, now, let us simplify. 2 squared is 4, and then c is 2 plus 5. We have the product and then add the exponent. And then for letter D, we have 8 plus 5. Saan galing yung 8? We have 4 times 2 is 8, then plus 5 for the last D raised to the 5. So we will have 4 and then C raised to the 7th power, and then D raised to the 13th power. So this is the answer for number 7. How about for number 8? We have 1 over x raised to the negative 5 power. So, we have a negative exponent. In order to make it a positive exponent, ilalagay natin si x to the 5th sa numerator. And then, over 1. Since 1 is not written as in final answer, so our final answer is x raised to the 5th power. How about in number 9? So, in number 9, this is the same for number 8. So, kaya lang, numerical value ito. So, you will have 2 raised to the 4. And 2 raised to the 4 is 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16. So, this is 16. Number 10. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And then, we have the same, and then, subtract the exponent. 6 minus 4. So, you will have 2x squared as the final answer for number 10. Now, let us proceed to a more complicated expressions, applying the law of exponents. So, number 11, 5x raised to negative cube divided by 10, x squared raised to the quantity 0 is equal to 1. So, again, any number which is raised to the 0 is equal to 1. Kahit anong hirap pa yung nasa loob, basta lahat siya ay naka-raise to 0, ang magiging sagot natin ay 1. Number 2, the quantity 2x cubed y raised to 0 raised to the negative 2x power. So, anong gagawin natin dito? So, again, we have a negative exponent. So, get the reciprocal 1 over 2 x cubed and y raised to 0. Then, copy the quantity 2 exponent. So, maaalis ang negative exponent. And now, apply natin ang product of the power or power of a power. So, 1 over 2 raised to 2 and x 3 times 2 and y 0 times 2. Imumultiply natin ang exponent nito kasi this is power of a power. So, you will have 1 all over 2 squared is 4 and then x 3 times 2 and 6 and y 0 times 0 times 2 is 0. So, you will have y raised to 0 and y raised to 0 is 1. So, the final answer is 1 over 4 x to the 6th power. How about number 3? In number 3, the denominator, yun ang may negative exponent. So, gagawin natin siyang positive. Paano? Again, get the reciprocal. Kung ang negative ay nasa denominator, siya ay magiging numerator. Para gawin natin 2 raised to the 4 x to the 6th power y cubed quantity squared. So, mawawala na yung negative exponent natin divided by 1. So, since it is 1, so kukopyahin na lang natin yung 2 raised to the 4 times 2. Bakit times 2 natin? Applying the product of the power of the power. So, you will have x, then 6 times 2, and then y, 3 times 2. Simplifying the answer, you will have 2 raised to 8, and then x, 6 times 2 is 12, and then y, 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, ulitin natin. Saan nakuha yung 8? Galing siya sa 4 times 2. And then yung 12 from 6 times 2. And then yung 6 from 3 times 2. Okay? So, what is 2 raised to 8? It is equivalent to 256. And then, x raised to the 12 and y raised to the 6. Next, how about for number 14? So, again, use the power of the product. Okay? So, 4 raised to the 3 times x, 4 times 3, and y, negative 4 times 3. So, you will have 4 raised to 3 is 4 times 4, 16 times 4 is 64. And then x raised to the 12 and y raised to the negative 12. So, you have a negative exponent. So, kukunin natin yung reciprocal niya. So, magiging 64x raised to the 12th power all over y to the 12th power. How about for number 15? We have a monomial times monomial. So, copy lang natin yung numerical coefficient. 4 times 5. And then x, we will have 2 plus 4. And then for the y, we have 1 plus negative 4. The answer is 20, and then x raised to the 6 and y raised to negative 3. Simplifying it further to remove the negative exponent, so you will have 20 x raised to the 6 divided by y raised to the third power, or y cube. So that is the answer for number 15. Number 16. In number 16, we will apply the law of quotient rule. So 2 and 8 is divisible by 2, so 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then x raised to the 4 divided by x to the 7th power is 4 minus 7, and then copy the y raised to negative 4. So simplify 1 over 4, x raised to the negative 3, and y raised to the negative 4. Since we have both a negative exponent, kukunin natin yung kanilang reciprocal as 4, x raised to the third power, and y raised to the fourth power. So, re-replace na lang natin yan ng 1. So, this is the answer for number 16. How about for number 17? Ang unang gagawin natin sa number 17 is simplifying the first monomial term by applying the power of the power. So, 2 raised to the 2. And then, a raised to the 4 multiplied by 2. And d raised to the 4 multiplied by 2. And then, copy na lang natin yung second monomial term. Now, let us simplify by applying the product rule. 2 raised to 2 is 4, and then a 4 raised to 4 times 2 is 8. So, 4 times 2 is 8, and then we have another value of a, so we will add the negative 4 exponent. And then for letter D, we have 4 times 2 is 8, and then we have another D that has one exponent, so we will have 1. So simplify. This will become 4a raised to the 4th power and d raised to the 9th power. So this is the answer for number 17. How about for number 18? So for number 18, pwedeng dalawang method ang gamitin natin. So depende sa inyo kung anong gagamitin mo. You can simplify first yung nasa loob, or you can remove first the negative exponent. So, itry natin yung removing the negative exponent. In removing the negative exponent, ang gagawin lang natin is by getting the reciprocal. Paano yung reciprocal? As I said, yung numerator, siya ang magiging bagong denominator. Denominator dati, siya ang magiging bagong numerator. Then, do not forget your power as negative 4 magiging positive 4. Kasi, kinuha natin yung kanilang reciprocal, so the negative 4 will becomes positive 4. Next, isisimplify na natin yung nasa loob. 18 divided by 2 is 9. A, 3 minus 4. We have the quotient rule. B, 3 minus 3. And C, 3 minus 0. Again, hindi pa natin ginagamit yung exponent na 4. So, simplify natin. You will have 9, negative 9. Nakalimutan natin yung negative dito. So, A, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. And then B, raised to 0. And C, raised to 3. Copy the fourth exponent. So, we will have now your negative 9 raised to the 4th power, then a raised to the negative 3, and then b as 1, okay, and then c as 3 times 4. So, our answer as 9 raised to the 4th is 6,561. Then, c raised to the 12 divided by a to the 4th. So, this is to the 4th. We have negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. So, this is a raised to the 4th power. Next, for number 19, 2 and 12 is divisible by 2. So, 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then, x raised to the 4 minus 6 and y raised to the negative 3 minus 3. Simplifying, we will have 1 over 6 as x raised to negative 2 and y raised to negative 6. So, we will have 1 over 6 x squared and y to the 6th power. Next, 3 and 12 is divisible by 3. So, 3 divided by 3 is 1 and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So, we have x 2 minus 6 and y negative 3 minus 3. So, you will have 1/4 x raised to negative 4 y negative 6. Again, we will have a negative exponent, so our final answer is 4x raised to the 4th power and y to the 6th power. And this is our final answer. Math challenge. Find the area of a triangle with a base of 3x squared, y squared, and a height of 4x raised to the 4th power and y cubed. Hint: using the formula of the area of the triangle, it is 1/2 of base times the height. So, the line that is perpendicular is the height and the base is the distance of one of the sides of the triangle. So, what are the given? The given are the base, which is 3x squared and y squared, and the height is equal to 4x raised to the 4th and power and y cubed. Okay, we have to find for the area of the triangle. Okay, solution. The area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 of the base times the height. Substituting the value of the base, (3x squared y squared) multiply by the height as 4 y to the 3 and then x raised to the 4. Okay, so multiply the numerical coefficient as 3 times 4, and then the value of x as the product rule 2 plus 4, and then the value of y as the exponent of 2 and plus 3 divided by 2. So, we will have 12, 4, divided by 2 is 2, and then 3 times 2, 6. And then, x, 2 plus 4 is 6, and then y is 2 plus 3 is 5. So, this is the area of the triangle. 6x to the 6th power multiplied by y to the 5th power. Math and Science Challenge. This is an integration of science to the mathematics application. An asteroid is 10 to the 12th power miles away from Earth, and it is traveling at a speed of 10 to the 5th power miles per day. How many days will it take the comet to reach the Earth? So, the given is 10 to the 12th power miles. From the unit itself, miles, this is referring to the distance. And we have 10 raised to the 5th miles per day is referring to the speed of the asteroid that is coming to the Earth. So, find the number of days to reach the Earth. So, this is equivalent to the time needed. Okay. Solution. Using the formula of speed is equal to the distance per unit of time, deriving the formula because time is unknown, so we will have distance over speed. Substituting the value of the distance as 10 raised to the 12th power miles divided by 10 to the 5th power miles per day. So we will cancel the unit miles. So we will have copy the base and then subtract the exponent. 12 minus 5. So we will have the time as 10 raised to the 7 days, or this is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, this is equivalent to 10 million days. How many days or how many years it is? So, if you want to get to know kung buhay pa tayo kapag dumating yung comet sa Earth, so it will took divide by, it will took 27,397 years bago makarating ang isang asteroid sa Earth, assuming na yaan ang kanyang speed at walang collision na nagaganap sa ating universe. So, how? By dividing 10 million days divided by 365 days per year. So, we will have 27,397 years. So, kung nagkakaroon na tayo ng ganyan na years at our time, so ibig sabihin, ma-experience natin yung asteroid that will come to Earth. Pero wag naman. Third example, the speed of light is 3 times 10 to the 8th power meter per second. If it takes 5 times 10 squared seconds for light to travel from the sun to the Earth, what is the distance in meters between the sun and the Earth? Okay, so the given class is the speed of the light is equivalent to 3 times 10 to the 8th power per second. And the time it takes to travel is 5 times 10 squared seconds. Okay, so we have to find the distance of the sun and the Earth during the travel. So, ito yon, yung distance between the Earth and the sun. So, using the formula of distance, speed is equal to distance per unit of time. So we are looking for the distance. So by using the cross multiplication, you will have speed times the time. Substituting the value of speed as 3 times 10 to the 8th meter per second times 5 times 10 to the 2nd power seconds. So, cancel out the unit seconds. So, applying the rules of exponent. So, 3 times 5 times 10, 8 plus 2. Because we will multiply, so add the exponent. So you will have 15 times 10 raised to the 10th power meter. So this is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 100, 1,000, million. This is equivalent to 150 billion meter. Okay? So, it is on the scientific notation the short way to read and write numbers.